my bad, y'all. Somebody fucking... See, this is why I need my phone. I gotta keep my phone on silent and shit, bro. Somebody fucking calling me in the middle of the video and they just closed my video. So now I gotta do part 2. But like I was saying, it's no different than the Julian calendar. I think it's the Julian calendar. And we switched over to the Gregorian calendar. But they say that according to what I read, they say 8 years is missing. Some people say it was a few days. Some people say it was a few weeks. You know, from what I read, they said it was 8 years missing in translation, which kind of makes sense because you got Ethiopia. They're still in 2018. And if you do, let's see, 2019, 2026. We're in 2026, right? So if we go back 8 years, 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018. Ethiopia is currently in 2018 right now. And we're supposedly missing 8 years in translation in our American calendar, Gregorian calendar, by the Pope. And on top of that, 1 month was removed. That month is called Sol, and that month is in the middle of between June and July. So we're supposed to have 13 months. So, and we're not supposed to have the same 7 days either. It's 365 days. So it's no different. You know, the Bible being mistranslated, it's no different than that. So, you know, we can't really say that the Giants was going around ravaging shit, whatever the case may be. Who knows, gang? But what we will stick to is knowing that giants existed, nigga. What we will stick to and you know, try to figure out and look into things that correlate with this is that, you know, there were a group of ancient humans on the earth, and I told y'all, when I get on the computer tonight, we finna go in, nigga. When I get on the computer tonight, we finna go in. But even the Egyptians, go look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs. Type in on Google Egyptians setting up Djed stones or Djed staffs. D-J-E-D, Djed. Type that in and watch what come up, and then you're gonna see 2 giant Egyptian niggas, and then there's gonna be a smaller Egyptian nigga in the middle of them, helping them put up this big little tower. So it's depicted even in Egyptians and their hieroglyphs. You know, everything that they, you know, painted and pictured and inscribed into the walls of their temples, they show you that giants were around during their time as well. So, and it makes sense because when you look at the history of the planet, back then, the oxygen, they say that the oxygen was more richer on the planet. It was a lot of things that was more richer on the planet. Think about it. You know, the food was natural. There wasn't no such thing as 5G towers and all this technology we got. It was just, nigga, straight natural shit. So it would make sense that things grew big as fuck. Like, remember, even bugs was bigger back then. Nigga, they say dragonflies was like the size of fucking... It's like the size of a Fiat car. Y'all know them little toy cars? I call them toy cars. But y'all know them little Fiat cars? They be small as shit. I be like, damn, nigga, y'all, you getting a wreck with that motherfucker, you over with. But yeah, you know them little Fiat cars? They like that size. You had fucking centipedes the size of school buses. You had sharks the size of school buses. You had ants the size of a small cat. What? And you had spiders the size of a full-on F-150 truck. So everything was bigger back then, and it will only make sense that humans had to be bigger back then. Homo sapiens been around for 200,000 years, nigga. Modern day humans been around for 200,000 years. We just started recording history 5,000 years ago. Look it up. We just started recording history 5,000 years ago. Where's the other 195,000 years of history, my boy? Where is that at, my boy? We need that. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that to y'all today because it's been a very interesting topic to me for the longest. We see giants today. Look at the NBA players. Look at Shaq. Shaq is 7'1", nigga. Like 300 pounds. Do you know how big he will look compared to a nigga like me who's 5'9"? And then, so it's proven. And then you got some people on rare occasions that reach 8 feet tall, bro. You got niggas in Africa right now that look like they fucking 9 feet. I swear to God. Type in giant people in African tribes. Nigga, they got videos today. It was a video with Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast was in Africa for some odd reason. I don't know why. But he seen these two niggas. These two African men. And he was like, what the fuck? He was on the mic. He was like, yo. He's like, hold on. He's like, ever since I've been here, this is exactly what he said. He's like, yeah, ever since I've been here, I've been keeping my eyes on those two fellas back there because they are huge. He's like, can y'all come to the front for me? And when they showed these two African men, nigga, they look like they look bigger than Shaq. So to this day, we're still seeing giant humans, nigga. 7 feet is like, that's crazy. Even 6'6", 6'7", that's tall as shit. So, you know, it's been a very interesting topic to me for the longest. And, you know, they talk about how they still got some beings chained up under the Euphrates River, which dried up back in 2023. And I feel like we're about to be introduced to something. You feel me? You know, something that's been on this planet with us, you know, if not as long as us, maybe even longer than us. That might be our ancient, you know, ancestors, nigga. And remember, the only beings that was growing to that size was my people. Because, you know, Caucasoids didn't exist back then during them ancient times. They didn't. Plus the planet was tropical back then. So it was way hotter on the planet back then. So they wasn't around like that. So the only people that was around was my people. That's why I'd be like, you know, when people be talking about the white people and they this, they that, I'm like, they not our problem though. You gotta remember, the first betrayal started with our own people. The first betrayal, the first fall of all ancient civilizations that came before us, and we're about to see another fall in modern age. It started with us, bro. It started with us. You know, so these giants, 9 times out of 10, was some of our ancient ancestors, nigga. Even the Egyptians, like I said, giant niggas been around, moving ancient technology, you know, keeping the planet in balance. I believe they were keeping the planet in balance. You know, you had these tall trees too. You still see some trees tall as fuck today that stretch up like that, damn near almost hitting skyscraper heights. You know, look up redwood trees, nigga. Those are some tall ass trees. And then when you look at places like the Devil's Mountain, which literally looks like a fucking tree stump, a giant tree stump, a big ass tree that had got cut off at some point, kind of made sense. You feel me? And then when you look at certain ancient structures like pyramids, or it's one place, bro, where they got these, it's an ancient place somewhere overseas, bro. They got this giant ass temple built into the mountain with these giant ass doors. I'm like, why would you need them big ass doors for some 6 foot, 5 foot humans? No. A lot of these ancient structures are megalithic. They're huge. And niggas is trying to figure out, how did these megalithic structures get built? 2 ways. Either the use of sound, or niggas was giant. Them niggas was giant. Simple, my nigga. Niggas was giant as fuck to build them bitches. And then, you know, don't get me wrong, I know niggas be like, oh, but when you go on the inside of the pyramids, it's built as if it's meant for regular sized humans. Which, yeah, I get that. But you know, you gotta remember, when you look into God of War, y'all. When you look into the wars between the New Age gods and the Old Age gods, which was the Titans versus Mount Olympus Avengers, which would be Zeus, Hermes, Hades, Poseidon. Like, that was a battle that took place. We not gonna say it was real because they call it mythology. I honestly think, you know, when we talk about mythology, I think that's just my theology. Anyways, but yeah, when you look into that, you know, Titans, you know, Zeus and them, they were smaller than the Titans, but they were stronger because that's why they were called the New Age Titans. That body was more, I don't know how to explain it, but like, it was just more fit. It was it was more efficient than having a 30, 40, 50 foot, 500, or I ain't gonna say 500, 30, 40, 50, 100 foot, 200 foot body. You feel me? But you know, I wouldn't say you couldn't move as fast, but like you can't really interact with the planet. You gotta think about it. I can, you know, you gotta think about it right now. At our size, nigga, we can barely interact with ants without. You try to pick up an ant, nigga, you might accidentally squish it. You gonna accidentally kill the motherfucker because it's so small. You feel me? And I believe that's what happened with the Titans. The Titans wanted to, you know, create these new bodies. But these new bodies, I don't know what happened. You feel me, with the New Age guys? But you know, they made these smaller forms so that way they can interact with nature more. They can interact with the trees, the animals and shit without killing them, because you know niggas was so fucking huge. So, like I said, all in all, we'll get into it later when I get home. I'm on my way to work right now. I love y'all, man. Y'all stay in tune, and like always, I'll be back with another one. One love, my universe. Love y'all. I'm out.